Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Mountain Blade Bannerlord and we're going to be going through the Cunning attribute tree and breaking down each and every perk in all the skills and discussing which ones are either A, quantifiably just better than the other ones, or B, are going to fit certain playstyles better, or I'll interpose my own personal opinions about why I go with certain ones and why I suggest them over the others for certain playstyles. So these guides, I'm doing a whole series of them, so if you're interested in any of them, I will have videos for all of them at some point. It's been requested broadly across the channel, so I know there's interest out there. So we're just going to bust into them, so I hope you enjoy them and I hope it's useful. So for Cunning, it says, Cunning is the ability to predict what other people will do and to outwit their plans. The skills that are bound to Cunning attribute are Scouting, Tactics, and Roguery. So increasing Cunning makes it easier to learn bound skills and also raises their learning limit. So the first one we have is Scouting, and this one's going to give us a little bit of flexibility, so let's just go through it. So the first option you get is Night Vision or Pathfinder. So Pathfinder gives you a plus 1% party movement speed during the day. Night Vision gives you a plus 2% party movement speed at night. And now the reason I go with Night Vision over Pathfinder every time is it's a whole extra percentage point. The night and day are approximately equal, so Night Vision, as long as you aren't someone who always sleeps in town or a settlement, which isn't usually possible in the game, this one is going to speed you up more often than not. So I like Night Vision. Plus, given that extra speed, it's easier to get away from people because they normally have less of a, they can't see as far on the map at night. So it's much easier to escape people with the Night Vision one because you get that slight boost and they don't see quite as far. So I think Night Vision is always the better way to go. Then we have Navigator, which increases party movement speed by 1%. It's a good one. Investigator, tracks become more informative, so that one's going to give you more information about whatever you're chasing, whatever party, army, whoever, individual. This one will actually give you more information, so it's useful. Farsighted increases chance to spot parties, so that links back to that one I was talking about before. This one gives you a longer range. Then we have Eye for Ambush, so it allows you to spot hideouts from much further away. I don't know why it's called an ambush. I've never been ambushed by a hideout, but it does help me find them if I want to go, especially early game, looting hideouts. It's a very good way to level up and make money, so that's a good one to have. Forest Lore, cuts your food consumption down. It halves your food consumption and gives you a 5% faster movement in forests. There's a lot of forests in the map. You're probably going to spend a lot of time in them, especially around the Vlandia, Sturgian, Battanian territories, and even some areas scattered across Imperial lands and over by the Khuzaits. So definitely a very good one to have. And then you have Desert Lore and half food consumption and 5% faster movement in the deserts. Now the reason these ones are almost equal but not quite is because, arguably speaking, the desert makes up about a third of the total map size. Maybe not that much, maybe it's closer to a quarter, so it's arguably bigger than the forest lore, but the forest is spread out over various factions, whereas, including the desert, there are some forest areas in the desert, whereas the desert is only Azerite territory. And not even all Azerite territory, because some of the Azerite territory extends over into the steppe where that boost isn't going to come into effect. So I go with the forest lore. Now if you're playing as an Azerite, it definitely makes sense to go for desert lore because you're probably going to spend more time in the desert. Then you have Hills lore or Marshes lore, and again this is going to be kind of the same thing as last time. So for Hills lore, it halves the food consumption and gives you a 5% faster movement in the hills, and Marshes gives you a 5% faster movement in marshes and halves your food consumption in the marshes. So the reason I go with the hills every time is there's more hills on the map than the marshes. The hills is going to comprise almost all of the Khuzait territory because that's very hilly land, and then also gives you, there's hilly portions of the map in every region of the map. There's only marshes in, scattered regions of the map around Vlandian territory, Empire territory, and some Khuzait territories. So I think hills is much more useful than marshes in this one. So then you have Forced March, which gives you a bonus speed with high party morale. So the higher your morale is, the better your speed is going to be with this one. Then you have Grassland Navigator, gives you a 5% movement speed bonus for grasslands. Healthy Scout gives you 8 extra hit points, so that's definitely useful. And Lay of the Land, extra 3% movement speed on the map, so that's just going to speed you up as you're traveling around the map. Very useful skills. So then we have Tactics. So Tactics says your judgment of how troops will perform in contact. This allows you to make a good prediction of when an unorthodox tactic will work and when it won't. So this one is going to be pretty much entirely, I haven't found any ways that it increases anything other than simulated battles, which is basically the send troops option. So this one, the higher the skill this is, and some of these things are going to impact how likely you are to win those battles, and it's going to minimize troop losses and other things. So let's just go through them. Most of them don't really give you an option except for that middle one. So companion cavalry is the first option, and so cavalry attacks cause 10% more morale loss. So that one does come into effect with manual ones. As you're charging with cavalry, it says, you'll get it more morale loss to the enemy. Tactical superiority, your soldiers deal 5% more damage in simulations, so that's good. One step ahead allows you to place your troops before all battles, so that's useful for setting up before the battle. It allows you to pick where you want to put your troops, giving you a tactical advantage. Logistics, your skill in logistics increases the amount of ammo your ranged troops start combat by 20%. So if you're going archer heavy, that's definitely a great skill. It's going to give them a lot more ammo. Ambush specialist, archers deliver 60% more damage in simulation and forests. So this one's going to be, again, one of those send troops options in the forests. If you're playing as a battalion and you go with a heavy archer army, you have this one. It's going to give you a huge damage boost in your own lands in the forest there. So that's definitely a super valuable skill for that niche playstyle. We have phalanx, so your infantrymen deal 50% more damage to cavalry in simulations, or hammer and anvil, your cavalry deal 50% more damage to archers in simulations. The reason I like phalanx better, at least in this playthrough, is because I was going for a heavy infantry one. This is going to come down to the makeup of your army. Are you going heavy on infantry, or are you going heavy on cavalry? If you've got a very, very heavy cavalry army that has very few infantry, it's going to make way more sense to go with hammer and anvil. But again, that's only going to take into account damage to archers in simulations, whereas this one does damage to cavalry. So, like I said, it depends on the makeup of your army. For me, I go with phalanx. Elusive, you can retreat from battles by leaving 50% fewer troops behind, so if you find yourself getting captured or cornered by armies that you know you have no chance of fighting and you just want to try getting away, this one's going to save you troops when you have to do that, so that's useful. Swift regroup decreases disorganized state duration by 50%. Bait increases allied battle reinforcement distance by 30%, so that one's useful. That way if you get into a battle, it allows you to use your people who are supposed to be your allies around you but don't usually jump into a map. This kind of pulls them in, so that's useful. You have trusted commander. Army cohesion decays decreased, so if you're leading armies a lot, that one's useful. It's going to slow down the cohesion decay. And then rational leader. Army supply consumption and disorganized time are decreased. So definitely some good skills to have in there. Tactics is a good thing to focus on. And I should say it gives you various options up here of how to level this up. Really the best way is going to be by commanding simulated battles. That's going to win you more often than not. That's how you're going to get all the XP. So let's move on to Roguery. So for Roguery, it says experience with the darker side of human life. You can tell when a guard wants a bribe, you know how to intimidate someone, you have a good sense of what you can and can't get away with. So it says how to learn: raid caravans, recruit and lead bandit troops, infiltrate enemy towns, give bribes, and escape from captivity. So most of your less honorable options are going to give you XP in Roguery. So the first option is raiding party, or Eye for Loot. So Eye for Loot gives you a 5% more loot from village raids, and Raiding Party gives you 10% faster village raids. The reason I like going with Raiding Party is because I don't do that a lot in the game, so I'd rather be able to just quick get it over and done with before a giant army crashes down on me than get more loot. So I like the speed there. Here you have 5% more loot, or a 10% speed boost. Theoretically, you could raid 2 villages in the time it takes you to do 1 here, and your percentages should about equal out. Actually, well, you'll make way more if you raid 2 villages as opposed to 1 with a 5% boost. So I think Raiding Party is quantifiably the much better option here. Then you have Commanding Presence, which gives you less relationship penalty while using Intimidation. So, you try to intimidate people and you lose less relations, so that's useful. For the Thrill, gives you a 10% increased morale gain from raiding villages. So if you're going for the bad guy thing and you're going to be raiding villages, this will increase your morale. Scavenger, more loot from enemies. Definitely useful. Gonna make more money doing it that way. Then you have Concealed Blade or Slip into Shadows. So Slip into Shadows gives you a 20% less chance of being caught while sneaking into towns, which can be useful if you do that. Or Concealed Blade can use any one-handed weapon in civilian mode. So obviously I like that one better. It's going to give you options to bring better one-handed weapons into towns as you're walking around. So as you run into troubles in town, you can have a better weapon on you. Then we have Briber, or Negotiator. So Negotiator gives 50% cheaper bribes, and Briber gives you a higher chance of a bribe option becoming available. The reason I like Briber is because there are a lot of people in the game or a lot of situations where the bribe option just won't pop up. This one, makes it pop up more often with a lot more people. I'd rather spend a little bit more money on the bribe and have it widely available than get a discount. Then we have camouflage, which gives you a 10% less chance of alarming enemy settlements while passing near them. Very useful if you're trying to be sneaky. Escape artist, you can escape from captivity 30% faster. This is going to save you time and money in the game. Bribe master, this one cuts down on bribes, making them cheaper. So again, that's why I like going with briber, make them available more often. I pass up on negotiator for now, and later I get bribe master, makes them cheaper anyway. If they stack, they don't stack to 100, so it's not like bribes become free. So it definitely makes more sense to go with briber and bribe master than negotiator. Then we have slave trader, so you get 20% better deals with ransom brokers. That's definitely a useful skill. And merry men, so you are able to recruit bandits to your party instead of slaying them, which definitely can be useful. And as you're able to do that, you know, it's going to help you keep leveling up roguery, even though by the time you get there, you don't really need to level it up anymore. So that is the cunning attribute chain there. I hope this video was useful and I hope you enjoyed it, but in any case, thanks for watching and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you like this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.